I say to the Lord, you are my Lord, and apart from you, I have no good thing. Lord, you alone are my portion. Today, Lord, will you fill us today? Have your way with us, we pray. Amen.
More than I've asked for, more than I'm worth. Grace on top of grace.
moment. So ushers, if you would prepare to receive that and serve us this morning. Just in a prayerful attitude right now, would you just go before the Lord and just ponder what He did for you? What He did for you on the cross that one day. You know, it's one of those things where, as a church, communion doesn't save you. But boy, Jesus says, take time as a body, take time as family, and remember the sacrifice that I made for you. Remember that it was my choice to find joy in you, to find the joy to go to the cross for you, to have my body broken and have my blood spilled for you and for the salvation of your sin. So as we receive communion this morning, church, will you just take time as we sing, and you can sing or you can listen, and just ask the Lord, Lord, man, are you glorified? Are you honored? Am I remembering with all the passion of my heart the sacrifice you made for me? Because Jesus told His disciples that I'm going to go and prepare a place for you, and I will come back again. But there's some things that I have to do beforehand. So let's remember what He did. Let's remember that sacrifice this morning. Usher's service, if you will.
At your feet.
said, undoubtedly, I make this stand of love for you. I make this stand by committing myself to go to a place where you don't deserve. Going far above and beyond the call of any man. That I should lay my life down for the one that I love. And he did that for us. So church, today, will you take and eat today? And remember that this sacrifice of Christ's body is a representation of what he did for you on the cross. In the same way, Jesus took the cup in that upper room and he passed it around the table to the disciples. And he said, I want you to take and drink and remember that there's going to be a day that I'm going to shed my blood for you. You don't understand that right now, but there will be a day you'll understand. And then they saw it happen. They saw him rise from the dead, and they understood. They still had fear. They still had questions. But man, did they have a joyful and grateful spirit in their heart. So today, church, as you take and drink, this represents this morning the blood that was poured out for you for the forgiveness of your sin for today and through all of eternity. Amen. Take and drink. So Lord, today we do rejoice as we remember the sacrifice that you made. Lord, I thank you so much for that forgiveness. I thank you, Lord, for how you maneuver in our lives, how you take care of things that we don't even see. I thank you for how you show up at times that we can't see you. But Lord, we know you're there. We know you're bigger than our circumstances, our situations, our hurts, our pains. You're even bigger than our honoring you and praising you today. Lord, you're so great and greatly to be praised. Church, will you just pray for those that you know that are ill right now? Those that are dealing with physical ailments. I know we got word as a church that Leslie is dealing with cancer and will be going under chemo treatment starting this week. I know there's others. We lift them up. Will you pray specifically for those that are lost, that don't understand the sacrifice that we just celebrated and remembered? Ask the Lord to use you as a tool to bring them to salvation. And church, pray for other churches in our community today. As their pastors get in the pulpit, that they will preach boldly with love and uncompromising spirit with the Word of God. That your light will be seen throughout every congregation today. Father, we praise you and thank you in your name. And everyone said, amen. Amen. Let's continue in worship with our offering this morning, of our tithes and offering today. And you know, it's an honor for us. It's an act of expression when we worship the Lord in this way. So church, express your love for the Lord. Man, we have a lot that we do in a month, don't we? Man, it's good to be with you this morning. Thanks for choosing today to get out of bed and be in communion with one another. And are you serious? I should just stayed away. I can just tell you there's more of you? I just want to go away. I want to stay in bed. No. Okay. It has to happen, I guess.
Now, could you read that?
Happy birthday.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. On this? Okay.
Could you read this one too?
Happy birthday.
I see a trend.
I'm so good. All right, I'm good.
What day is your birthday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Can I have a hip hip?
Hooray!
All right. And we're not we're not having fingernail files this year.
Good, thank you.
Although if you have one in your pocket, he really likes it if you cut your nails during church. Okay, that wasn't nice. You guys stand up and turn around just so they can see. A little higher.
Okay,
higher.
all right, it's there.
Okay, we're going for the Statue of Liberty.
Okay, right there.
All right. We do love you. The church loves you, and we want to wish you a happy birthday. And here's a card. There's some shekels inside for him, so go buy himself a
Nice.
better Statue of Liberty. All right?
Thank you. I kind of want the glasses, though.
Do you want it?
Yeah, I want the glasses.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll loan them to you.
Oh, okay.
Here,
Thanks.
put them on.
Okay, this is good right here. This is worth the day right there.
Whoa!
That's right there. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Do you want the butterfly too?
No, I can do without that. That's good. I knew I should have just stayed in bed. Wow. Well, that brought joy to my heart. That's what we're talking about today. And now I got glasses. I can see you. It's good. All right. So I'll do this again later, probably.
Are you 50 now?
Nope. The joy of the Lord comes and says that you laugh with one another, you join one another, and you join with each other in everything that they do, including celebrating birthdays. And so, Janet, no, I'm not 50. So, not even 55. Doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter how old I am. That's good. That's probably good. Where in the world was I?
I forgot to leave this up there,
Thanks. We've been talking as a church about loyalty and being undivided in your loyalty. And this week, it was a great week for my family and I. We were able to go to the beach and get away, spend some time in Seaside. It was marvelous. We had fog, rain, wind, a chill factor, everything I love. I should have stayed there is what I should have done. No, just kidding. It is good to be back. But I got to be in a cool minivan for once in my life. My wife tells me, you bring up the uncool minivan thing all the time. My minivan was cool for a short time this last week because I found a section of beach I could drive the minivan on. You're not even joyful with me, are you? You have no idea. Man, I rolled the window down and I was like, woohoo! It was good. You forget it. You don't understand. My heart was good this week, and it was filled up this week with joy, and it was good to have the kids with us for the weekend, and they came home, and Mom and I, we just spent the rest of the week together. Lovely. I'll spare the rest of the details, but it was good. So thank you for loving Joel last week. Joel Allsworth was here. He spoke. He brought the word and just laid it out there, and I know that some of you have been really touched by that, and we're really getting from the word last week. So thank you for loving Joel as he came down from Spokane last Sunday. Wow. Well, undivided loyalty. We were in this series of, hey, it's green light. It's time to go. And we looked at scripture that said, sometimes we just feel like we need to lay on the horn, right? We got to just lay on everything that we got. But sometimes I think the role is to come alongside you and go, hey, just beep, beep. right? Just beep, beep. It's wake up. Scripture says seize the day. We read that. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about right now, go back a couple weeks, watch the message, and the beep, beep will make sense, okay? So I won't take time to go through all of that. But the undivided loyalty between God and the world, we talked that. And then a couple weeks ago, we talked about how we move on. What stays in 2018 versus what do we bring with us in 2019? Because there's got to be things that we can bring with us, but there's things that we need to leave behind. And man, one thing that we don't do real well as human beings, especially Christian human beings, is forgetting the past and letting go of old habits and old hurts and old addictions. Amen? We don't do that real well. We want to hang on to some things and go, well, poor me, I just kind of come along and go for the ride. And I want to challenge us, beep, beep, seize the day. You can forget the past, the old, because the new has come. And we have power in that only comes by way of the Lord. Well, today, I want to talk about joy. I want us to celebrate joy in our hearts. Not the kind of joy that you think you get from family or from having a fulfilled career or having raised your kids just right and thinking your 401k retirement fund is doing great, you planned well. Not that kind of joy. You know, people think that joy just happens, and churches and Christians think that joy is one of those, well, matter of fact, I deserve joy. And I want to show you today that there is nowhere in the Bible that you can see, that you'll find and prove to me, unless you can, I think it's there, that you're going to be able to say, yeah, you don't deserve joy. Joy is something you have to go and get. Joy is one of those things, it's not a matter of fact, just because you're a Christian, you get joy. Scripture tells us you go and get joy. You choose joy. You make it happen in your life. You work for that joy, and you remember that it all happened, that started at the cross when Christ gave his life for you. That's where the joy comes in. That's the strength that we have. World will say, well, man, there's all kinds of joy. Now, the worldly joy, anything that you do in the world, that joy, man, it's fleeting. It just goes like that, right? As soon as you're done with it, done. I mean, you can go like, well, last night, some of you went to the hockey game last night, right? You went to the hockey game last night? All right, we won, right? Yeah, you're still a little happy about it, right? Yeah, but the joy's kind of gone. You're already moved on to Sunday, right? School's tomorrow, right? So, right? See, the joy, man, the joy is like, boom, done. Don't even know what I did on Saturday night, man. You know, I mean, but we have this kind of joy that we think is so valuable when really it's just based on what happens in our everyday circumstance in life, and it's not that. I want us to look at joy this morning and go, there's more than that. There's a joy in the Lord, but we got to give up on some things. We got to move on past some things. Nehemiah, Old Testament book. You don't need to look there. It'll be on the screen for you. It's just one verse that I want to look. In Nehemiah 8, verse 10, Nehemiah comes right out and just says, he says, do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. Don't grieve. Man, we're good at hanging on to grief, aren't we? We're good at hanging on to the sadness, the poor me days, the rainy days. You know, we're good at that. But Nehemiah comes right out and just says, you know what? The Lord says, don't grieve. For the joy of the Lord, that's the joy, not the joy of your job, not the joy of your family or your spouse or your kids, but the joy of the Lord, that's the strength. That's where we get true joy. But we have to go get it. It doesn't just happen. I want to show us that today. You might think, well, in the middle of all my bad days, you know, man, there's not much joy there. Well, there's some sadness that comes on some of those bad days. There's not much joy there. Man, you know, anybody ever know a joy sucker? You know what I'm talking about? I had my joy sucked out of me this week, just for a short time. Sharon and I, we have this like favorite little coffee shop that we go to when we go to Seaside, and man, we were there, and it's like one of those deals where they get you. You know, it's like you're in there, and especially when you spend a week, they give you like credit, so much credit for every dollar you spend. They give you free coffee at the end of the week. You're like, my kind of place. Man, we get there and go down out of the resort, and we walk into the place, and the door's locked. Locked. I mean, not even, nobody. I mean, there's nothing's even hot. I mean, no way am I getting a cup of coffee out of that place. So I went and turned around. My joy got sucked out of me, didn't it? It was just like my attitude went from, ooh, right, just like that. So I go at this point, get in the uncool minivan, and we go driving. We're going to go find a beach somewhere. Go for a walk, didn't have any kids, didn't have any coffee, nothing happy right now. And then all of a sudden, Sharon says, hey, there's a coffee little hut right there. Let's just pull in there. I'm driving by, I'm looking, I was like, that doesn't even look good. And I just kept going. I said, we'll go to the next one. There wasn't a next one. And my driving went from to and then it happened. 78 head of elk right in front of the minivan. It was like, pull that baby over, and we sat there 30 minutes. I forgot all about the coffee, right? Forgot about the kids, forgot about my wife, forgot I was in a van. It's like, I'm just like drooling. Sharon's over there on the passenger side going, click, 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 click. I was like, what are you doing? Taking a picture of all those up? That'd be great. Get that one over there. So no, I'm taking a picture of you. I was like, oh man, I was like in heaven right there. See, again, you don't even understand the joy of that. You have no idea what went in my heart right there. I'm just, your pastor's being real. You had no idea how joyful that was in my heart. But I also know that there's some truth about joy that we don't understand, and I want to share some of that with you today. I want to share with you, where does joy come from? 3 truths. And then I want to share these 3 truths and then share with you the journey on how to obtain these 3 truths about joy. It's kind of a theological day, because you got to get your head wrapped around where does joy come from, or the world is going to own you. If the joy of the Lord is not your strength, the world will own you. Your circumstance will overrun you. Your conditions that you live in every Monday through Saturday is going to trample over you, and it's going to be the trump card every day. But when the joy of the Lord is truly there, then the Lord is your strength, right? And that's the trump card that we play. First one is this. Journal takers, you can take note today. Joy comes knowing that God has a plan for your life. Joy comes from knowing that God has a plan for your life. Now, it's okay to have the bad day, right? I mean, if you say, man, Pastor, you don't understand my bad days. You're right, I don't understand your bad days. Pastor, if I just take 5 minutes of your time and tell you my bad day, I would probably say, man, you're right, that's kind of a bad day. I mean, that's kind of bad. I mean, that's worse than my day probably, right? So I'm not downplaying your bad day. I want us to move on past the bad day. Everybody make sense of that? All right, so don't anybody leave here today saying, well, Pastor just thinks my bad day is worthless. I didn't say that. I want to help you get past the bad day, okay? Because I know in the middle of that bad day, it's going to either own you or you're going to own it. See, because I can have a bad day, but it doesn't define me. It's okay. It's not going to become the ruler of my life. It's bad. It can be really bad. I mean, it might be dark for several days or weeks, right? But it's not going to define who I am. And sometimes even in church culture, we let the bad define who we are. You got to know this is a very true thing, knowing that God has a plan for your life. It was said in Hebrews chapter 12, I don't have the scripture for you on that, but Hebrews 12, that it was at the time in Jesus' darkest day, his worst day of his life, it said, he will go on to the cross because he knows the plan. He knows that there's something better. And Jesus goes and says, you know what? Because I know there's a plan, I can go and endure the hardship because I know what's coming. It might be dark for a while, but man, there's an end. There's somebody to say amen. You know what that's about, right? And Jesus is like, I'm going to put up with it. I'm going to drive and grit my teeth, but you know what? I'm doing it because I know that my Father has a plan for my life. Okay? So I hope you understand that. If you don't, maybe by the end of the day, you will hear. My passion for our church and for you is that you will find the true joy of the Lord in your life. And not just a joy that just is a fleeting joy, but a true joy. Psalm 16. Open that up, turn it on, and follow along if you want to. But Psalm 16, verses 5 through 11. I'm going to take time to read through that a little bit. It says this, Lord, you alone are my portion and my cup. You make my lot secure. In other words, Lord, you're everything that I need. I'm secure. You're it. That's all I need. The boundary lines have fallen for me in pleasant places, and surely I have a delightful inheritance. See, when we know the boundary lines, man, life is good. We don't like to really hear boundary lines anymore in culture, right? We kind of want to do our own thing, kind of erase all the lines. But here, boundary lines is a good thing. See, my boundary lines have been drawn for me. I mean, God's given me my boundary lines. It's Oregon. Oregon is it. Hermiston is it. God has boundary lines. He's placed me here to be called here to minister, to live, to love, to have compassion, and to preach and to spread the word of God through the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's my boundary lines. And because I know my boundary lines, it's pleasant. That's where the joy comes from. It's a pleasant place. That's what he's saying here. And because of all of that, I will praise the Lord, who counsels me. Even at night, my heart instructs me. I keep my eyes always on the Lord, with him at my right hand, which means the Lord's guiding you, right? The Lord's guiding you. The Lord's at your right hand. He's guiding you through this process. I will not be shaken. Even though life around me is being shaken and stirred up, maybe falling apart, I will not be shaken. Therefore, my heart is glad. Well, why is my heart glad? Well, my heart's glad because I'm in my boundaries, and I have the pleasantness of living within those boundaries, and I know God's right hand, he's directed me, right? That's why I'm glad here. And my tongue rejoices, my body also will rest secure. I mean, you sleep better at night, folks. You sleep better at night. When you're in the boundaries and in the presence of the Lord, you just sleep better. Anybody want to sleep better? Some of you are wishing, man, I'm going to sleep right now is what I want to do. I'm watching, just so you know. Because, Lord, you will not abandon me to the realm of the dead, nor will you let your faithful one see decay. You make known to me the path of life. And that's the problem for many. We don't know the path. Our path hasn't been showing us. See, we haven't any idea what our path is because we don't know the joy of the Lord. We haven't entered a relationship with Jesus Christ, who gave his life on the cross for us. And until we do that, we don't know the path. And that's frustrating, isn't it? Just drive. Someplace you don't even know where you're going. Better yet, let somebody else drive and don't tell them where to go. It's kind of frustrating. We don't know the path. And that's why we work really hard here at our church to get you plugged in. Everything we do throughout the year, that video you just watched, everything that you saw in that video is intentional. You see, because there's a path, there's a process, there's a leading of God's hand, keeping you in the boundaries of a holy life. In this sermon, is like I said a couple weeks ago, it's not going to change your world. It's not going to rock your eternity. What is going to do that is when you get plugged into the church and plugged into relationship, that's where the magic happens. That's when you rely on your brothers and your sisters. That's when you have a hard day, you give them a call and say, man, my day stinks. Man, you know what? My day's been the best day ever. You get on the phone and you share your heart. See, we work hard at that, and we want to have the joy of the Lord come through. But we want you to know that it's not so that you can serve the church. It's because the church is serving you. That's why we do all that we do. It's serving you. You're volunteering. We have a lot of people that volunteer around here, and they're not doing it so that you can serve the church. They're doing it because they want to serve you. Because when you're served, the idea is you serve other people, right? The joy of the Lord. You will fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand. Second thing is this. Joy comes when you're certain that God is going to work it out. Anybody living right now in a situation in your life where it's like, God has got to work this out, and I'm not seeing God work anything out? You got to be certain that God will work it out. You just are positive, certain. Nothing's going to stop you from believing that. I am certain that no matter how dark and how bad and how broke I am, God is certainly going to work it out. I understand what it is to work and not know where God is. I know what it is to go through a situation or go through a time of life and go, man, I am not seeing God anywhere. But it's at those times I have got to know that God, even though I don't see him, he's working it out. He's doing something. He's making it work for me. You know people that have gone through things, I'm sure, right? Where it's like, man, their life looks so dark, their situation is horrible, it's bad. How are they ever going to make it? And now they're on this side of it, and you're like, wow, man, it's good. I can look back now and look at the joy that's bringing life. See, as we were coming back from the coast, we came down the same highway that Sharon's brother and sister-in-law lost their lives due to being in an accident with a drunk driver years ago. And we had the conversation as we get closer to the mile marker of where that accident took place. And Sharon's asking the questions of, man, what do you think God was thinking, like right now? Like knowing that in the next 3 miles, this thing's going to happen. And that life is going to change for my family. What's a husband say to that one? Just kind of listen. Lord, help her. And then the questions kind of came up as like, well, I kind of hope that God would know the hurt and the pain that he's about to bring in my life and in my heart. And we had a good conversation. And in those dark times of her family's life in that time, man, it got dark. It hurt. But you know what? You look back and you look at the healing that takes place. Because now you look back on that situation that looks so dark where you don't see God moving at all, and you can put a list of names and of families that have been saved and lives have been transformed and people have been helped because of the witness and testimony of her brother and sister-in-law that was magnified because of their death and their loss, which brought hurt and pain to her family and her life, and I married into that, right? But to now see the joy on the other side of all those lives that were changed because of that, what seems so tragic. You following that? You know stories of people that haven't been able to have successful pregnancies. So they go and they take doctors' advices and they do the medications and the tests and they do all that they can do to get pregnant. And it just doesn't work. So we have friends that went and they adopted some kids, and after they adopted kids, now they have doubles and triplets, and they have more kids than they ever thought they'd ever have. But in those dark days when there was like nothing happening, they will come back to you now and go like, man, that was the best thing right there. That was great. 5,000 kids under one roof. It's awesome. Okay, not really that many, right? But you see, it looks so dark, but yet it's not. 1 Peter 1:8 says this. Though you have not seen him, God, okay, hey, you didn't show up. I haven't seen you, yet you love him. And even though you don't see him now, still not seeing you, God, you believe in him, and you are filled with an inexpressible, glorious joy. Wow. What's an inexpressible, glorious joy even look like? I want to learn that. I feel like I'm learning that all the time. More and more. Every day I get older, Janet, I'm learning that inexpressible joy, right? But I'm reminded of this story of the African king that went hunting and had his best friend with him. And his best friend, he always had this saying that was like, man, this is good. This is good. Everybody just say, this is good. This is good. And this is the guy's saying. It kind of drives you crazy. Somebody that just has a saying, they always say it, even at like inappropriate times. It is like, what are you talking about, right? Just kind of drive you crazy. Well, that was this guy. Well, this guy, he loaded the king's gun, and the king was ready to go and shoot, and they're getting excited. The guy's like, man, this is great. This is great. Or this is good. This is good. And the gun went off. It misfired, and it blew the king's thumb off his hand. The king, in so much pain and couldn't believe what had happened in that tragic moment, and to have his best friend sit there and go, man, this is good. This is good. The king got infuriated. He threw his best friend in prison. Threw him in prison for a whole year. So a year later, the king's out hunting. He gets ready to hunt, and he wanders in across the line where it was very, very dangerous. And this king, the story goes on, and it says he was captured by cannibals. And as the cannibals were stringing him up on the pole, getting ready to cook him, they noticed that his thumb was missing. Well, cannibals, they don't eat anything that's not whole. And they saw that, and they were discouraged, and they were fearful. So what'd they do? They cut him off the stake, and they kicked him out of camp. And the king was so happy. He had no idea what had just happened. And it was like, man, this is awesome. I have a thumb. They kicked me out. I'm gone. I'm living my life. I regained it. I'm so joyful. He's so happy. He goes back to his kingdom, and he releases his friend that he puts in jail for an entire year. He goes and says, man, I am so sorry. Man, I'm so sorry that I put you in jail, locked you up for all year. I shouldn't have done that. I kind of overreacted a little bit. Oh, man, king, this is good. What? How can it be good that I locked you up in prison for an entire year? Well, King, man, it's good because if you didn't lock me up, I would have been with you. You knew I was building something, didn't you, huh? It's like, for those of you that are a little slow, he had both his thumbs, right? Man, this is good. Even in the darkest of times, man, there's a joy that comes only from the Lord. In my church, we had, in growing up, there's a song, and I don't know if you guys sang it here, if it was a West Coast thing or not, but in the Midwest, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good song. It was a song that said, "Everything's gonna be all right." Right? Oh, 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 I got a feeling. You don't even know the song, do you? Everything's going to be all right. Oh, oh, oh. Well, I'll stop there, right? But, man, the church, man, we were on fire. The feet were even doing this, and people were clapping. And we had one old timer in church. He'd get a hanky out of his pocket, and he's like, woo-hoo! He's walking that aisle, and he's just like, it's going to be all right, baby. And, he's like 85 years old. He's probably even older than that. I don't know. But it was when that song kicked in, and the band played, and the drummer hit the drums. The church just exploded because we believed that it's going to be okay, not because of our circumstances, but because there's joy in the Lord that is our strength. And that's where we get it from. Third thing is this. Boy, I tell you, I had a vacation. I could preach all day, but I won't. Okay? Third thing is this. Joy comes when I choose it. I got to choose it. It's not a matter of fact. The Bible says, go and get the joy. Philippians 4, verse 4 says this. Rejoice in the Lord always. And Paul says, I say it again, rejoice. So I'm like, rejoice. Really, what is rejoice? Right? We don't just have joyce. Scripture's saying, rejoice. You've got joyce, you got joy, but rejoice. Do it again. Right? Just remember, go back and rejoice. Remember the sacrifice Christ made. We just did that in communion, right? Rejoice for that. Some of you are going to be going like, man, I don't know. What's wrong with my pastor this morning? Okay, I haven't had coffee yet. I'm just saying. But when I look at rejoice, and I look at what Paul writes here, he says, rejoice in the Lord always. Always is every circumstance, every situation. And he's saying, you got to rejoice always. And then he says, again. Why does he have to say it again? You know why he says it again? Because you forgot to rejoice just 5 words earlier. Some of you are going like, man, people actually tell pastors this. Man, pastor, I feel so much better after being in church today. I feel so much better walking out of here than I did when I was walking in here. Listen, 5 minutes goes by and you're fussing with each other out in the parking lot. You got to go back and rejoice. You got to go back and redo it. You got to go back and remember the feeling that you had because everything's going to be all right. You see, so Paul's like, no, I got to say it again because you're going to forget it real short. Memory, going like a goldfish, 3 seconds, right? Done, gone. Go back and rejoice. At a time in my life, I had a mentor that I let speak in my life. This was about 20 years ago. And he came up to me one day and he's like, Eric, I got to talk to you. So you're not going to like it. Anybody ever have that conversation starting that way, right? Yeah, I got something to say, but you're not going to like it. In fact, you're probably going to walk away is what he said. He says, but I'm your mentor. You're letting me speak into your life. It's like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'll take whatever you got. Throw it at me. He goes, you got the most rotten attitude out of anybody I've ever known. I said, well, I do now, you know. And I said, no, really. Tell me. I let you speak into my life. I don't let everybody speak into my life, but you're my mentor. I let you speak into my life. And tell me why. He went through a whole long list of things at that time. And I'm reminded of that because I haven't arrived yet. I'm still working on myself. I'm still having God train me and teach me and mold me each and every day. So I haven't arrived. But yet, man, if I'm not working on it, I got to find joy even in that. I got to find joy in working on it. Sometimes we just rather shovel it under the carpet, right? I don't work on nothing. No. There's joy in working on it because you're going to be a better person. And the joy of the Lord is your strength. We sat at vacation this week and we watched this movie. Man, it was like one of those movies where you sit back and go, I can't believe I'm watching this. You ever have those moments? Should I be watching this? This movie is full of all kinds of emotional baggage. We watched Christopher Robin. Telling you, I mean, seriously, think about Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh, for those who don't know Christopher Robin, right? I mean, the story is like, it's like a science project. You got this little piglet thing that's running around that is so depressed, right? He can't even utter a word hardly. He's just there, right? And then you got an owl that's flying around, right, over everybody's head, telling everybody what to do. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to be around the owl. You got the kangaroo, right? The kangaroo's kind of going around, say, hey, you do this, you do that, you do this. Oh, you better do that different. I know how to do that better than you do. Who wants to live around that, right? And then there's what? The donkey, right? The donkey. Eeyore's like, oh man, it's always raining in my life today. Who's gonna care about me? Some of you are like, honey, he's talking about you this morning. I'm not talking about you this morning. But then you got the little yellow bear. You ever seen a yellow bear in the woods? I haven't, right? You got this little yellow bear who just is so naive. He doesn't care about anything. He just like, what do you think? What do you think? But then there's one character that when they enter the room, it changes life. Who is it? Tigger! Yeah, Tigger, baby. I mean, when Tigger comes into the room, he comes in the room and he's bouncing on his tail and he's singing a song that he wrote about himself. Right? Right? Now, I don't know if I'm going to get this right or not. I'm going to try to get it right, right? So you sing it with me. Bryce, you probably can sing the song way better than I can, right? But the wonderful thing about Tigger's a wonderful thing. Tops are made out of rubber. Bottles are made out of spring, right? Bouncy, flouncy, rouncy, douncy, fun. Fun, 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 fun. The most wonderful thing about Tiggers is I'm the only one. I'm the only one. Right? Right? Yeah. Stop it. Okay, you come a little more. That's all right with me. That's all right. Whew, I was nervous about that, if I get that right or not, so. But when Tigger comes in, he changes the whole atmosphere of things. When you enter the room, what do? Do people look at you and go, man, Christ in him changes everything? Or they look at you and go, yeah, there's not a joyful spirit in that body at all. Them bones just need to dry up and go away. We all know people like that. And let's be honest. We all know Christians like that, right? But you see, when the joy of the Lord is your strength, and that strength is because of the Lord, which brings the joy, man, you change things. So here it is. Beep, beep. Again, if you don't know what that is, go back 2 messages, you'll figure it out. But it's time to seize the day. Deuteronomy, Old Testament book, great book. I'm going to read it out of the Message, okay? I'm going to read this portion of Scripture out of the Message because I think we come to the idea that we can't be a Tigger. We can't just have the joy of the Lord out of everything. You know the best thing about Tigger? Not that he's the only one. But it's like, hey, Tigger, you want to go collect apples? Sure, that's what Tiggers do best. Right? Hey, you want to go make a hospital call? Sure, that's what Tiggers do best. Hey, you want to go help me share Jesus with somebody? Sure, that's what Tiggers do best. Right? You can put yourself in there, right? That's it. And here it is in Deuteronomy, in the Message. It puts it so simply. This commandment that I am commanding you today, it isn't too much for you. Oh, Pastor, you're just preaching. You've been on vacation too long. You had too much time to think about this. And, I can't do everything that you're talking about. Listen, it's not too much for you. It's not out of your reach. It's not on a high mountain that you have to go get mountaineers to climb to the peak. And, it's not even in the ocean. Or I should say, bring it down to expand your level and explain it before you live it. And it's not across the ocean. You don't have to send sailors to go get it. You don't have to have them bring it back and then explain it to you before you can live it out. No. The word is right here and it's now. As near as your tongue is in your mouth, just say it. Just say, this is where I'm going to go. Just say, I'm getting off my spot. I'm leaving the past in the past. I'm moving on from my habits and my addiction and my hurts, and I'm moving forward because I got the strength that comes only from the joy, and that brings me to the Lord right at his feet that I remember this morning, the sacrifice he made on the cross. Is anybody following what I'm trying to tell you this morning? Because there's joy, church, and it doesn't come from your workplace, and it doesn't come from your spouse. It comes from the Lord. Look at verse 15. It says, look what I have done for you today. I have placed it right in front of you. I have placed life and good, death and evil, right in front of you. And I command you today, love God, your God. Walk in his ways, keep his commandments, live the holy life, and this is what's going to happen. You will live, really live. Live exuberantly. That's like a Tigger word right there, right? Exuberantly. Blessed by God, your God, in the land you are about to enter the process. But listen, I warn you, if you have a change of heart, and you refuse to listen obediently and willfully go off and serve other gods and do your own thing and live the way you want to, you will most certainly die. You're not going to last long in this life, nor in the land that you're crossing into. I call heaven and earth to witness against you today, because I place before you life and blessing. Choose life so that you and your children will live. You got to choose joy. There's even a Christian song that says choose joy, right? Radio overplays it, kills it every time. We just kind of tune it out anymore. But there's a theological truth there. It's like, you've got to choose it. You got to choose it. Here's 3 ways on how to do everything that I just did. You ready? We're going to go quick, and then we're going to pray, and you're going to go. Paul here, he writes a book. It's in Philippians. And he's writing this book in a time of his life where it's not pretty. It's not good. I mean, Paul, he gets in so much trouble. People always talk bad about him. Paul's one of those guys where, man, people will start a rumor about him just like that, just for what he looks like, for what he smells like, for where he had lunch, for what he's talking about, what he's preaching about. And here in Philippians, Paul, he's on a journey to go preach about the gospel of Jesus. That's his mission. And once again, he ends up in jail. And while he's in jail, people outside of the jail are speculating. Anybody ever do that in our culture? Speculating on, well, what could have happened, or what he should have been like, or what he was talking about, or what maybe he might have said. And Paul, he's sitting in jail, and he's waiting for the death row. He's waiting for the death penalty. He's waiting for his head to be cut off here in Philippians. So Paul he's not having a really good day. He's kind of having a bad day. But this is what he did in the middle of his bad day, his bad section of life, in his darkest moments. He did 3 things. First thing he did is he chose to look beyond what happened. He chose it. It didn't just happen. He chose to look beyond what happened. He's not sitting back chewing on all the bad that took place in his life. He's not rehashing it. He's not reliving it. He's not going back 5 stories and going, man, you know what happened to me 5 years ago? No, the Bible says don't grieve on that. Move on, leave it back there, because I'm doing a new thing in your life. And Paul's like, I'm choosing to look beyond what has happened to me. I'm here in jail, and because I'm in jail, this is what he says, Philippians 1:12. Now I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that what has happened to me has actually served to advance the gospel. How many of us in our bad days actually come out of our day going like, you know what, I presented Jesus today. I did my best for the kingdom today. Well, that's what Paul's doing here in Scripture. It's a great lesson for us. He's like a hero of all heroes. You see, because what happens here in Paul, I'm in jail, but I served and advanced the gospel because I had some time to do some writing. It kind of slowed me down a little bit. I wrote like Philippians, Ephesians, Colossians. You see, so Paul, his day didn't go the way he thought his day was going to go. And you know what we got out of it? We got the Bible. Isn't that pretty cool? I think that's pretty cool. His bad day, our good day, right? Unless it's like slapping you right now, then you're probably not too comfortable. But it's one of those things where it's like you look at Paul's life and go, man, he chose to look beyond his circumstance and all the reasons why. Second thing is this. He chose to find new opportunities. He just didn't take it for granted that, hey, whatever's here is here. That's all there's going to be. Poor me. No. He said, hey, I'm in jail. This is what Tiggers do. Let's do it. How can I present the gospel? He's looking for the opportunity. And as a result of him being locked up, he goes on and he says, hey, because I'm here and I got the writing done, there's a jailer sitting over here in the corner that he's almost saved. He's listening to me. He's watching. He's almost saved. Got some things done. Philippians 1:13 says this. As a result, Paul says, it has become clear throughout the whole palace guard and to everyone else that I am in chains for Christ. In other words, it's become obvious I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian in jail on the inside. And because of my change, because of my Christianity to Christ, most of my brothers and sisters have become confident in the Lord. In other words, most of my brothers and sisters in this jail setting, they become Christian. They become saved because I chose to take opportunities that were knocking on my door and present the gospel and further the kingdom of Christ. And because of my change, most of them have become confident in the Lord and dare all the more to proclaim the gospel without fear. In other words, you know what? Hey, we're Christian now too. We're not afraid. We can sit in jail just like you, Paul. We can lose our jobs. We can lose our life. We can lose our families. But you know, we're going to do it because we believe in this God that you now have shared with us. Well, what did Paul do here in that verse? You know, you guys over, who had the lemonade stand earlier this summer? Somebody over here had lemonade. You guys had lemonade? Okay. What do you need to make lemonade? Lemon, right? So that's what Paul did here. He took all of his lemons and he made lemonade. Something good, right, out of something that really probably most of us won't just go and take a bite out of, right? But he makes lemonade out of it. He does something good with those opportunities. Third thing is this, and then we're going to close. He chose to focus on what really matters. He chose to focus on what really matters. Man, this is a hard one, isn't it? Because we want to look at everything in the big picture, and Paul says, nope, just right here, just right where I'm at, only what matters. I mean, seriously, all of your sadness in your days, I mean, just process this. All of the sadness and all of the worry and all the poor me and all the stuff from the past, has it helped anything in your life? Why do we live there? That's what Paul's saying. It's not going to help me to worry. It's not going to help me to poor me, Igor it. Nope. I need to Tigger it. Beep, beep. Seize the day. Let's go. The light's green. You can't sit at the intersection. You're going to miss the light. You're going to miss your turn. You see, he chose to focus on what matters. Philippians 1, 15 through 18 says this. It is true that some are out there preaching Christ out of envy and rivalry, and others are out of goodwill. But the latter do so out of love, knowing that I am put here for the defense of the gospel. The former preach against Christ out of selfish ambition, not sincerely, supposing that they can stir up all kinds of trouble for me while I'm here in chains, while I'm here in jail. But verse 18, but what does it matter? Does anybody have a relative that goes, man, what's it matter? Pfft. Right? Anybody got a friend that goes, whatever, doesn't matter. It's kind of like what our culture does right now, right? It doesn't matter. I mean, just pick a topic. Not even church or spiritual related. It doesn't matter. You know what? Try driving a car without air in your tires. It kind of matters, right? Kind of matters. But what does it matter? I love what Paul says there. What does it matter? Because I'm choosing to make the most of my opportunity. The important thing is that in every way, whether from false motives or true, Christ is preached. And because Christ is preached, and because I have chosen to take every opportunity, and because I have made every effort to look past what's happened to me, and because I choose joy, I can rejoice. Man, I hope you're encouraged this morning that you can rejoice right in the middle of where you're at. Because, I mean, I made a comment the first week we started this. It's like, man, I looked all over the place for a stoplight. I mean, I called people, I called city, I called county, I called everybody but the right person. Sunday afternoon, I get a text, hey, why don't you ask me if I'd had a stoplight? Why would I ask you if you had a stoplight? Well, I got a few. So I went and looked, and sure enough, I'm thinking, you know, some little stoplight thing. This thing is like a beast comes out of the attic, right? And I'm like, man, that's awesome. Well, how many do you need? I was like, well, stage isn't that big. One will do just fine. And man, I felt the joy come right inside my heart, right? And I'm like, this is awesome. And then I asked a very important question. You know what the question was? Does it work? Exactly, right? And the guy was like, well, yeah, you just got to wire it. It's like, I'm a pastor. Like, I'm going to just wire it. Yeah, that's a fire hazard in my life. So I'm like, how do I do that? So he took time. He showed me. I was like, piece of cake, I can do that. Man, I was so excited. put this baby on the trailer, strapped it down, drove it over here nice and slow because I didn't know how fragile these things were. I bring it in the front door here, and I lay it out here in the hallway, and I'm popping screws, and I have an old extension cord, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to just clip the end of that cord. I'm going to just come over here. I'm just going to hook that wire and that wire and that wire, and well, it should work. I walked the cord over to this plug back here, and I'm like getting ready to plug it in, and my hands begin to sweat. And I'm like, water and electricity, probably not the safest thing, right? And I'm like, I don't know. So I plug it in, and it's like, I got this really cool thing. This is like a really cool thing right here. It's like this remote control like thing, right? So I plug it into this remote control back there, and I'm just like, I hand this to Gabriel, because she was in here, and she's like, well, aren't you going to turn on? I was like, no, you go ahead. I'm like back over here. I'm like, no, you just go right ahead. And she's like clueless. She's like, oh, Dad, you're so good. You can wire anything. Yeah. So she pushes this, and it was like, well, it worked anyway. Yeah, there you go. It was like, wow, that is like the coolest. Isn't that cool? I love that. But here's the kicker. I don't know how you fix this, Gabriel. But it gets kind of bright, doesn't it? Yeah. Veronica, you doing okay? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we need to put a couple pieces of paper on there to tune it down a little bit. You know what I want for you as a church? I want you to be so stinking bright with the joy of the Lord in your heart that first of all, you live it because you understand where the joy comes from, and that's from Jesus Christ. And then I want you to be so bright that the world is just trying to put layers and layers and layers on you to stop you from shining the joy of Jesus. Because you know what? You can put a whole ream of paper on there, it's still going to glow. And the world doesn't know that. You know the secret that you have? You've got the strength that only comes by way of the cross and that communion that we celebrated. The body of our Lord and the blood of our Lord that was shed for you will make you grow, will make you shine, and you can choose joy. Father, today, I pray that we are a church that chooses joy. And Father, today, if there's somebody that's here today that doesn't understand joy, Lord, I pray that today that this message will roll around in their head and in their heart. They're going to talk about it, and they're going to ask questions about it, and they're going to dwell on your word today. Lord, that this can be a life-changing thing for us if we'll just give it the opportunity. So, Lord, I pray today that you would help our hearts understand and really know that, man, we can have the joy of the Lord no matter how dark our day is. It may be a bad day, it may be a cloudy day, but man, there's a God joy that's in us that we can celebrate. That only happens because of the sacrifice you made for us. So Lord, I claim it in my own life, and I ask, Lord, for your joy to be in my own heart, and that I can portray your joy to my family, to my wife, and to my kids, and then to my church, and then to my community. And Lord, I pray that as we pray as a church, we'll have the same kind of prayer. Lord, start it within me. Start it within my heart. Can you pray that this morning, church? Can you ask the Lord right now, start this glow in my heart? Can you start the joy, Lord, right here with me? Ask the Lord to do that. And then just sit back this week, Lord, and we're going to watch you work. You're going to bring opportunities across our doors and across our walkways. You're going to bring opportunities across us through relationships and phone calls and Twitters and Facebook and social media and phone calls and relationships, a cash register and in a line, wherever it is, Lord. You're going to bring opportunities for us to choose joy and to glow for you. Help us be like Paul, we pray. In your name. And everyone said, amen, amen. Well, hey, you look beautiful. You look great. Thanks for letting us get away for a week. We love you. Have an excellent week. Say hi to about 5 people before you get out of here, will you? Shake their hand. Let them know you love them. Great. Thank you.